The query seems to reference a concept tied to Carl Jung's psychological theories, particularly around the idea of a unique or complex mind that stands out from the norm. The phrase 8 signs you have a mind 99% of people can't understand suggests a focus on traits that make someone's thinking or personality distinct, possibly aligning with Jung's ideas about individuation, archetypes, or psychological types. Below, I'll outline 8 signs that could indicate a mind that operates differently from most, grounded in Jungian psychology, and explain each in detail. Since the query doesn't specify a particular source or framework beyond Jung, I'll interpret this through his lens, incorporating concepts like the collective unconscious, archetypes, and psychological functions. 8 signs you have a mind 99% of people can't understand. Inspired by Carl Jung. Number 1. You're deeply introspective and drawn to the unconscious. Jung emphasized the importance of the unconscious in shaping personality and behavior. If you're someone who constantly reflects on your inner world, your dreams, motivations, and hidden desires, you may have a mind that others find hard to grasp. Jung believed that most people focus on the external world, but those with a unique mind dive into the depths of their psyche, seeking to understand the symbols and patterns in their unconscious. Explanation. This introspection aligns with Jung's concept of individuation, the process of integrating the conscious and unconscious to become a whole self. You might analyze your dreams, noticing recurring symbols, for example, the shadow or animus/animus, or feel compelled to explore your psyche through journaling or meditation. Others may see this as overly abstract or intense, as they are less attuned to their own unconscious processes. For example, you might ponder why a recurring dream about a dark forest feels significant, while others dismiss dreams as random. 2. You see patterns and connections others miss. Jung's theory of the collective unconscious suggests that certain archetypes and symbols are universal, but only some people actively notice them. If you frequently spot synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, like seeing the same number repeatedly or connecting unrelated events, you may think in a way that feels alien to others. Explanation. Jung described synchronicity as an acausal connecting principle, where events are linked by meaning rather than cause. For instance, you might notice that a conversation about a book coincides with finding that book in a store, interpreting it as a sign. This ability to perceive deeper connections can make your thought process seem mystical or complex to others who operate on a more linear, practical level. 3. You embrace contradictions in your personality. Jung's concept of the shadow, the hidden, often darker aspects of the self, highlights the complexity of human nature. If you are comfortable acknowledging and integrating contradictory traits, for example, being both ambitious and empathetic, your mind may operate on a level that others find confusing. Explanation. Most people prefer consistency in their identity, but Jung saw embracing the shadow as key to personal growth. For example, you might recognize your capacity for anger or selfishness without denying it, working to balance it with your kinder traits. Others might struggle to understand this acceptance of complexity, as they may repress or ignore their own contradictions, seeing them as flaws. Number 4. You're driven by a search for meaning. Jung believed that humans have an innate drive to find purpose, often through spiritual or philosophical exploration. If you're preoccupied with questions about the meaning of life, your purpose, or the nature of existence, your mind may seem abstract or unrelatable to those focused on everyday concerns. Explanation. Jung's work on archetypes, like the self or the wise old man, suggests that some individuals are drawn to universal truths. You might spend hours contemplating existential questions or feel unfulfilled by material success alone. For instance, you might question the purpose of your career in a way that feels pointless to others who prioritize stability or practicality, making your perspective hard for them to grasp. Number 5. You have a strong intuition that guides you. Jung identified intuition as one of the 4 psychological functions, along with thinking, feeling, and sensation. If you rely heavily on intuition, making decisions based on gut feelings or insights that you can't fully explain, you may have a mind that others find enigmatic. Explanation. Intuitive types, in Jung's typology, perceive possibilities and patterns beyond immediate data. For example, you might choose a career path because it feels right, even if it defies logic, or predict outcomes based on subtle cues. Others, especially those who rely on sensation or thinking, may see your decisions as irrational or hard to follow, as they lack the same intuitive lens. Number 6. You're fascinated by symbols and myths. Jung's work on archetypes and the collective unconscious emphasizes the power of symbols and myths in shaping human experience. If you're drawn to mythology, art, or symbolic imagery and see them as reflections of deeper truths, your mind may operate in a way that feels foreign to others. Explanation: you might find profound meaning in a painting, a mythological story like the hero's journey, or even everyday symbols like a cross or a circle. Jung believed these resonate because they tap into the collective unconscious. For instance, you might see a spiral in nature and connect it to cycles of growth, while others see it as just a shape. This symbolic thinking can make your perspective seem abstract or esoteric. Number 7. You feel like an outsider or misunderstood. Jung's concept of individuation often leads to a sense of being different, as it involves forging a unique path. If you frequently feel like others don't get you or that you don't fit into societal norms, your mind may operate on a wavelength that's hard for others to tune into. Explanation: individuation requires breaking away from the collective mindset, which can make you feel isolated. For example, you might reject conventional success metrics, like chasing wealth, in favor of personal growth or creative expression. Others may find this non-conformity puzzling or impractical, as they're more aligned with societal expectations, making your choices seem strange. Number 8. You balance logic and emotion in unique ways. Jung's psychological types describe how people balance thinking, logic, and feeling, emotion. If you fluidly integrate both, making decisions that are both rational and emotionally resonant, your thought process may seem complex or unpredictable to others. Explanation: for instance, you might choose a job because it aligns with your values, feeling, and offers strategic growth thinking, even if it's not the highest paying option. Jung saw this balance as rare, as many people lean heavily on one function. Others might find your ability to weigh both logic and emotion simultaneously confusing, as they may prioritize one over the other. Why these traits make your mind unique? According to Jung, most people operate within the confines of their dominant psychological functions or societal norms. While a mind 99% of people can't understand reflects someone who embraces the full spectrum of their psyche, conscious and unconscious, rational and intuitive, individual and collective. This aligns with Jung's idea of the individuated self, which is rare and often misunderstood because it transcends conventional thinking. Practical examples: introspection: you keep a dream journal and notice archetypes like the trickster, linking them to your life challenges. Synchronicity: you feel a strong urge to call a friend, only to learn they were thinking of you at the same moment. Shadow work: you admit to feelings of envy but use them to fuel personal growth rather than denial. Search for meaning: you explore philosophy or spirituality, like reading Jung's Man and His Symbols, to understand life's purpose. Why others struggle to understand. Jung believed that most people are unaware of their unconscious drives or archetypes, focusing instead on immediate, practical concerns. A mind that engages with these deeper layers can seem abstract, intense, or out there to others who don't share this perspective.